Hello. Alright, now I said I'd get to a video on pathing this dragon ring. Unfortunately, pathing and recording video at the same time was causing too many crashes, so I'm going to have to posthumously go through the steps on this. As you can tell, even just rotating this model is killing Rhino. Okay, so let's have a look at the model itself for a second. What we have is this beautiful sort of dragon grabbing the world with Australia in there and a couple of the continents. Dragon's claws coming up over it, some mill graining around the edge, beautiful flat background in the back. Then we have some detailing done on the sides and around here, then also the sort of diminishing ball finish going down there, and this flourish on all the sides. Now, a couple of indexes we require to finish this job. First of all, thank you to Colin Creed for doing the artwork on the dragon for me, and matrix was used for building the actual ring, and all the mill graining and the beadwork you see over there, and all these flourishes and floral insets all over here were all the work of Rhino Art. So let's have a look at how we went about doing this ring. I'm going to have to open the layer menu. The first thing I do before working with anything is I break up my models into what I'm going to use as blockers. As you can tell by the blockers layers over there, my curves used for it, the ring itself, high detail sections of the ring, so I can selectively turn them on and off, and I had some engraving paths in there separated out. Alright, so the first thing we have to realize is that I had to try and cut. This could have been done as a plain rotary or rotary plus indexes had it not been for these side details here, which a cutter, there's just no way a cutter can be able to access it from the edges. So I had to flip it on its side, cut away these details and then those details, and then get the rest of the ring done. So I'm going to turn off the high detail layer, which is going to make this thing much simpler to work with, but just let's pretend that all the high detail is still in there. Then I'm going to turn back on the blockers. Now what I did is I put blockers in here so that when I did my roughing and my finishing, my big tool and my finishing tool didn't accidentally cut into any of my detail. So obviously the first problem we got over here is we need to roll this job onto its side. Alright, we had this guy, let's rotate it. On its side like this, and let's switch on our milling constraints layer. Now what the milling constraints layer is my constructs that I use for ground planes and so on. I'm going to hide that. That was for the rotary layer. So what I've done is I've put in a hub, some supports, and then a cone for lining up the index path. Alright, so in RhinoCam I've got the ring lying like this for the first section. And the first thing I always do is I do a rotate table to get my table looking up. Let me turn on my world coordinate system so you can see what's going on. Alright, so I've got the table looking up, and then I wrote a roughing that essentially is going to come in with a 317 end mill, and I've written it with layers. So it's going to come down, cut away everything here, come down, cut away everything here, come down, cut away everything here. Let's see if that'll simulate. Too fast. Let me config that and see if I can turn it down a little bit so you can see what's going to happen. Okay, and then let's just go back in there. Alright, let's simulate that again, maybe a little bit slower, you'll see what's going on. Okay, so it's going to cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, and then cut the final layer. Alright, then what we've done is we've rotated the table around 180 degrees. You can see the blue arrow Z is pointing down, and then I wrote a roughing for the back, which basically was written to have 0.8 mil of skin right round, including the blockers, and just clearance the maximum amount of wax away for me. Alright, so the time has come to do the bulk finishing of the flips with a 15-degree index cutter, which I rotate the table back up to 0, and with my blockers all still in place, I wrote a parallel finishing path. Let me turn off the layer menu so I can try and get a bit more visibility there, with a very coarse step over of about 50 micron going zigzag across this way. So it went over with the blockers in place, cut the whole lot out, because this detail is going to be cut again in the rotary path. No point getting too fine a detail in it. Alright, then same as the top. Just before we rotate, what I did is I took this layer, and now I'm going to have to just, hang on a second, I'm going to have to turn on my layers and switch on the high detail layers. Alright, what I did, oh goodness me, they're all rotated the wrong way around, aren't they? Select objects. Oh, you'll have to bear with me. Rhino is struggling to work with those high detail layers on. Let me try and rotate that. Go on. Oh man, this is painful. And you'll have to especially bear with me because I'm doing this on my laptop as my main PC. The mouse that runs its treadmill has died, so it's a little on the laggy side. Alright, so what we did in here is all the other blockers still on. I went in, let's click on setup. I went in and hid this blocker.